Hello. Happy Wednesday. How's it going, you guys? I know I'm a little bit early for once, huh? But we chat a lot before, so I figure no one's going to miss anything. So I know no one's probably even here yet. So I'm just rearranging some windows here. I remembered I had changed something and I wanted to change it back. I was like, I didn't really like that setting. So, all right. So just let me know if you can see me and hear me okay as I kind of move everything around here. Let's see here. This is what I want right here. Perfect, perfect. All right. Oops, let's move that. Let's move that a little bit more. It's so hard with the cameras in front of the tab sometimes. That's what my problem is here. That's why streamers have two computers, but I don't want two computers either, two monitors. Oh, thank you for following. Hi, Veronica. I thought you already were subscribing. Hi, Megan. How's it going? All right, all right. How was your guys' weekend? Did you guys have a good one? Are you gals? Guys and gals, have a good weekend. I've been taking it easy the last couple days. I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something and I can't remember what it is, which is kind of a good feeling in a way because it's like, oh, I'm blissfully enjoying this downtime. But then I'm like, oh God, what am I forgetting? Hi, Vicky. Hi, Heather. How's it going? I am leaving for the weekend tomorrow. So now I'm kind of like, oh, shoot, I should have packed, but whatever. You were, oh, yeah, Veronica. The mysteries of YouTube, right? I've been seeing so many streamers go to Twitch lately, full time. Hi, Megan. Two Megans. Even spelled the same. Oh, your first needle sharp's on its way? Is that the, which one is it? Is it a coat? I can't remember. Yeah, exactly. So we're making the Scout Tee today by Grainline Studio, and they are having a Scout Tee September. So I just kind of jumped on that because I was like, I needed like a 2-part stream rather than a 3-part stream since I was leaving, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Hi, Polly, how's it going? And I really enjoyed Saturday's stream with you guys, and I've gotten so many great comments that everyone really loved the pattern drafting, and I feel like the writing's been on the wall for a long time that you guys really, really enjoy the pattern drafting. Wait, does that say booty sweatshirt or bow tie sweatshirt? Ooh, Heather. Oh, Heather. Heather, do you have to sew for Halloween? I'm really glad I don't have to do that anymore. Like, it was really fun, and then it was not really fun. It was really fun for a few years, and it was really not fun, and then I don't have to do it anymore. So... you know, and you are way ahead of those other folks that go the week of Halloween. Oh, bow tie. Oh, darn, Megan. I was kind of hoping it was a booty sweatshirt, which I wanted to know what that was. You love to hate it, right? I know. Yeah, I've told you a few of my Halloween stories with Cricket. She's very specific. I think I've passed on almost all of those things to like my niece and nephew. So like her costumes became dress up, you know. So yeah, so we're doing the Scout Tee. The pattern drafting stream on Saturday was kind of impromptu. I didn't realize kind of how kooky I got for pattern drafting, that like I didn't know I was going to go that deep. I really went down the rabbit hole on doing modifications for this because it is kind of a fun, you know, silhouette to modify. And I definitely did that. And I think I'm going to change one more thing. I'm going to change the sleeve, I think. So, and in fact, I want to tell you guys, like, when I came in today and I saw the sleeve, I was like, that's the flutter sleeve I drafted? Because I don't know. I feel like I may have been a little too focused on adding the ease to the cap. Oh, that'll be fun. And I think I kind of started trying to do two things at once in a way. You know what I mean? Like I was like, ooh, I really want this sleeve in general to have ease on it. And then I still used it for a flutter sleeve that didn't even go all the way around the armhole. So there's not kind of no point to having that ease in the cap. Also, I kind of flattened out my cap, and I think the flutter sleeve works best with a little bit of a cap still. So the sleeve I drafted with you guys ended up looking like this, right? Because it wasn't going to go all the way around the armhole. It was going to stop. It was going to stop like part way right here. I changed it from when I drew this as well. Then I kind of tried it on today, and I was like, yeah, no, that's not what I want. That isn't actually not what I wanted. So then I drafted another one, which I don't have here. This is the other one for this one. I don't have that one here, but if you do one of these, know that when you slash and spread this, the underarm, which is not here right now because the underarm would come, am I still on the camera there? Yeah, the underarm would come out to here, right? Because this stops right about here on the armhole. Know that this right here, this underarm, would actually swing as far as the top of the cap. So if you're doing that, there's a billion little how-tos on the internet for you guys too. So I double checked to make sure I wasn't like throwing you out to sea with no life raft. So I'm really sorry about that. This sleeve is a sleeve still. I mean, it's like totally fine. It's just not what I'm looking for. I have really broad, straight shoulders, so I don't really want to look like I have wings. So, oh, full and elaborate. Oh, they're gonna love those dresses for a while though. They're gonna have fun with them. So I decided just to stick with the sleeve that I drafted. I may make it shorter, actually. I think I will make it shorter. Sure. I don't know. Maybe I won't. So I'm just gonna go with a simple sleeve, the one that came with the pattern, except that I added a little ease to the cap because I really don't like binding my armhole, right? So that's the only difference I'm gonna do. I also wanted to tell you that our good friends at Hearts Fabric heard us talking about Swedish tracing paper, and they sent us a roll so I could play with it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, I know what this stuff is. My friend told me all about this and showed me some, all right? So here's the deal with this, you guys. It's like kind of takes the place of the muslin. Like you don't have to buy muslin fabric. So this comes on a roll. It's 10 yards. It's 29 inches wide. So it's not quite 44 inches wide like, you know, regular fabric would be. But it's also $15 for 10 yards. So that's like $1.50. You know, that's not bad. You got yours. Yeah. So it's a great way that you could cut. You can, yeah, it's like you can, it says, don't cut your patterns, trace them with the sewable pattern paper. Sew it and try it on before cutting your expensive fabric. Use it to make a durable master pattern, strong, see-through, and drapably soft. Yeah, I mean it's pretty soft. It's kind of like interfacing, but it has a more of a crispy texture. So Hearts sent this to me, Heather. And if you guys remember, you have that your own code for 10% off, and it's SOSO10, SOSO10. Not spelled out 10. I should write it down. I should put it for a little thing and put it up on the screen. So I'll get on that. So yeah, so if you want to try it out, they carry it. Is yours longer as in yards, or is it wider, Megan? Yeah. So anywho, I ended up cutting my little sleeve and trying it out on there. I was like, okay, now we're talking. That's not what I wanted either. So it was kind of a good way to get, like, I almost just cut it out of fabric, and I was like, nope, we're going to try the Swedish tracing paper. So. All right. So I kind of have this ambitious list of mods that I did on my little top here. I did the like swoopy hem, a see-through yoke, a yoke seam, and I lined the bottom, and I added a back plate way wider. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, you could really trace some big pattern pieces out on that. So it doesn't have like the drape of fabric, you guys, but at least you can get fit. Like doing the flutter sleeve, it was really hard to see what the flutter sleeve, it wasn't fluttering at all. Hi, Olivia, how's it going? You're about to make a butterfly blouse? I made one of those, dang, did I make that yesterday? Wait, what was yesterday? Yesterday was Tuesday. I made one on Monday. I made a white one and out of linen. It turned out really nice, but it's not quite what I was looking for what I wanted. So I'm going to set it aside for now. It turned out great, but you know what I mean? Like what I was looking for. I've been sewing too many things in a shorter period of time, so then I have more like, I'm not sure about that. So, all right. So I may do a little bit of like figuring some of this out on the fly because I want my seams to be finished on the inside. And I feel like I can do that. I think the only seam right now I'm trying to decide what to do with is the armhole, because originally, hi Lucy, how's it going? Welcome. I was thinking about doing the sleeve just partial down the armhole, and then I was going to bind it. You've been missing the live stream. I'm glad you're here too, Olivia. Things happen, you know. The butterfly blouse, yeah, you can get that from Hearts. They're the one who sponsored that stream, and the company that makes the pattern is called Decades of Style. Yeah. So the butterfly blouse. Hiya, quilter. Yay, welcome. I haven't even started sewing yet. We've just been chatting. So I thought I found the Ash Jeans video. I learned something. I can actually download my streams. But here's the thing, you guys. I'm still like trying to figure out what happened to those Ash Jeans video, because the one that was on YouTube was like 20 minutes long, right? So I downloaded it. I left it while I left and went home. Came back the next day. It was downloaded. I watched it yesterday. There's nothing like watching yourself in a video. And about an hour and a half in, I was like, I think this is it. I think I actually got the Ash Jeans video back. And then it ended. And then I was looking at all the videos that I could download, and that one says it's 22 hours long. So this is now my like thinking. What happened is maybe when I ended my stream, I didn't click it properly and it just stayed live. You know, so, and that's why it's 22 hours is way too long, right? So it's not going to hold the video that's 22 hours long on the internet. So, yeah, I know, a quilter. Well, the prototype is still there. So you can look at the prototype when I did the shorts. The sewing steps are still there. The tummy panel is not, right? Yeah, that's the only thing. Hi, Rachel, how's it going? I know you haven't been here for a bit, have you? Hi, Jilly. Yeah, so I was trying not to get optimistic that I found it. I am pretty thrilled that I can download past streams though, because some of these things, hi Deborah, maybe I would download just to make sure I never lose them, you know? Doesn't Ginger's have, yeah, it does have the tummy panel, but not the way I designed mine. So, but you could totally do that. The Ash Jeans pattern doesn't come with a tummy panel. I hacked it myself. Hi Ida, good to see you. Yeah, so I hacked it differently a little bit. Yeah, so I made it like a single layer when it got to the center front, and it worked out great. But at the same time, that isn't in the Ash Jeans pattern. So, yeah, right, Megan? I think so. I will totally make those jeans again. I actually really love them. And I'm going to wear them to my reunion on Friday night, I decided. So, I took this jacket my husband got me. It's black and white branches all over it with these huge pink Gerber daisies on the hem. It's a crazy jacket. It can be a dress or a jacket. And it's made out of nylon, so it's kind of noisy. And it's made by a company named Desigal. They're kind of like a young, really fun brand. You know, he got it for me years and years and years ago in San Francisco. My husband likes shopping for clothes and things like that. And he's really good at picking things out for me. And so it's like when, I was like pretty stoked that he bought this for me. It was really nice, but I've worn it twice and it's very, very distinctive. It's not like you could wear it to a function with the same people. They would remember this thing, right? In fact, it's the cover shot on one of the videos we did recently. I think it was like changing ready to wear. What was that one? What was it called? I didn't even use the jacket in the video. So But then I was like, you know what? Maybe I will hack this. And so I hacked the pink Gerber daisies off of it. I hacked the sleeves to be like right to my elbow, and hemmed it, and I put more buttons in, and it looks really sharp. So I'm pretty excited that I actually pulled off an outfit that's black and white, because remember, it's like black is the theme on Friday night, and I just don't have any solid black, and I was like, I can't wear solid black. Like, I just don't. So, anywho, I'm set. I finally have my outfits. I wasn't even stressing about it. Like, I'm just wearing my regular clothes, but I was like, this black and white thing, I was like, I don't really have anything. So I have a ready to wear white top I'll wear with my Jackrabbit pants, and I'm set. So, all right, let's start sewing. So let's see here. So we have the lined bottom of this. And so here's the white that I'm lining it with. And then I have sleeves, and I have the yoke. And so I think what I'm going to do, because, you know, I'm kind of off the grid here with these pattern pieces. Now I got to post lots of pictures for you. Yeah. Hi, Barbara. Yeah, I do need another pair, Ray. I really like those pants. They feel so good on. And it's really funny, like, trying, what the heck? Oh, wow, that is much lower, huh? That's right, I did that on purpose. It is really funny, like, when I put on the Jackrabbit pair, I'm like, oh, these fit really good. And then I put the black ones on. I was like, oh, but these feel so good. Like being in the stretch denim, there's just nothing that compares. Why is that so deep? Why is it cut so badly? It is 1/2-inch seams, right? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to, my idea is that I'm going to sew the lining, sew the outer, and I'm going to put them together. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it all through the side seam of the lining. This may not be necessary, but it might be. And so I'm just going to leave myself an opening right here. So you're going to have to bear with me figuring out how to sew all these things into a modded Scout, because I did do quite a few. So if you're doing a regular old Scout, yours is going to be way fast. Thanks, Ray. Yeah, I know. It was really a good pair of pants. Yeah. All right. So we have the pleat in the back. So let's do our bottom. I kind of work things through at the machine. If you're new here, I do this a lot. I work things through at the machine. In general, I try and make things the way the instructions are loosely, so that if you're sewing the same thing, you have it as kind of a reference. So I'm kind of sorry that mine's so heavily modified, because it is pretty different than the actual Scout tee pattern. But at the same time, I think you'll still get the gist out of doing some of these techniques. So. And this is fabric I actually bought at Hart's. This is actually not the right side. What the heck? Did I just do this upside down? Oh, I did do it upside down. That's what's going on. I was like, what? That doesn't look right. And it's it feels like a cotton. It's probably a cotton poly because of the little woven strips through it. I'm not sure. I actually am pretty bad about looking at some of that stuff, you know, unless I'm really looking for something specific. It's not really like, it's not like a polyester chiffon would be with all that like soft drape, you know, for being so see-through, but it does have, it's very lightweight and it's very see-through and very sheer. So that's why I decided to line the bottom part, because I'm not one of those people to wear just a pretty bra or something and call it good, you know, it's just not my style. I'm not incredibly modest, but I'm modest enough for that. You know what I mean? Okay, I can't find my thread. Can't find my thread. Where is it? And it's all see-through, so I really want to make sure I'm not doing anything here. This is why I don't generally backstitch, because if you have to take it out. But this one I do need to backstitch, so I just need to get this little end here. So what did you guys do this weekend? Are you guys sewing anything? I know Olivia's working on the Decades of Style blouse. Well, that's pretty exciting. All right. I didn't do both of these wrong, did I? No, I I only did one side so far. Here we go. The right side of the fabric is obvious when I see it, but I have to see the other side to make sure. Here we go. So if you want to do anything like add a yoke or add a back tuck to your scout, the Saturday stream really covered that really well, you know, so you do have that if you want to add anything. And I highly recommend looking at all the Scout Tee hashtags because there's some really cute ones out there. This tee does not need to be modified. It is cute as is, and it is kind of fun to be able to wear a t-shirt that is made out of a woven fabric. You can tell I didn't line up my seams very well, or I cut one of them not very great. So I'm starting at the top for both so that the misalignment is in the same spot, because look at this one right here. One's a tad bit longer. See that? So I'm just making it so that it's on the bottom on both side seams. Harry Potter. Wait a minute. I forgot about the Harry Potter sewing. That was you. Very cool. I have to admit, you guys, I'm going to be in Southern California. I really want to go to Harry Potter World, but it's like hours away. And my friend was like, are we doing that? I was like, no. He thought I was serious. I'm not taking him to Harry Potter World until he finishes the books anyway, right? Like, come on. What do you take me for, a muggle? All right, let's see here. So now I'm trying to decide what to prioritize finishing-wise, right? I have this curved hem, and I have the yoke. I want both clean finished, especially with the curve. And so this is why I left the opening in the side seam, so I might be able to do both. So it's a little ambitious, but I think I can manage it. But let's put our yoke together. We're gonna have to do some French seams here because these are sheer. Let's see, is this the... You think I should, Megan? Would be nice to have a butterbeer. Would be totally down for that. This is my back. I now have to pin my label to things so I don't forget it, because I totally forget it. I will be binding the neckline, so that will be the same as the pattern, just so you know. I'm not going to do anything fancy there, or different, I should say. Oops, wrong side's together. We're going to do a French seam here. I may do a French seam at the armhole. I didn't pre-serge anything, so I do have to figure out some way to finish my armhole now that I have a full sleeve going all the way around. I could bind my seam allowance because I did cut binding for that, but I'm going to see how thick it is and how it feels. I sent him the first book, Megan, but he hasn't finished it yet. I'm like, it's the quickest book ever. He said, he's like, you know, it's really good. I love how when someone's new to the Harry Potter books, they review it to me as if they're like, you know, those are really well written, and they did a really good job on blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, you know, it's like the most translated book. It's like second to the Bible in translations, I think. And you know, people know this already. Oh my gosh, you guys, look what I just did. I'm so out of it today. I'm just going to warn you guys, I really am out of this today. I'm really out of it. Look at what I just did. Oh, an online class through silhouette patterns on pants. What's it about? Are you doing custom pants for yourself, or is it like a how to sew one of their patterns, or what are you doing? Oh, you guys, also, I noticed that I think Creative Bug is having a free week of classes. Like you can download whatever you want. I can't remember what it is. Brooke sent me a snippet of that in an email newsletter from Cal Patch. I don't subscribe to her newsletter, so Brooke thought I'd want to know about it, and she told me that I saw it in the newsletter. Like Creative Bug is having some either a special this week or it's free for a week. I just wanted to seam rip, right? I know. I just wanted to summon Nancy. I'm just going to trim this a tiny bit. because there's a little bit of threads here. That was pretty funny though, that I did one side wrong side together and then I corrected it on the other side, put it right sides together, which wasn't a correction at all, by the way. You're a giant Peggy Sagers fan. Who's Peggy Sagers? Rip, exactly. Rip, yeah, good. Oh, for yourself using, oh, that's cool. She's the silhouette owner. Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna iron this. Where's my iron thingy? I'm gonna iron. All right. I need to move my little stuffing thing here. I just saw someone post pictures of irons on Instagram. It was like her favorite sewing, one of her favorite sewing tools, and I'd never heard of them. They started with an O, and they had a automatic lift on them as well. Do you guys know about those? What are those? OSE or O's irons? Wait, I can't remember what it said. The Instagram post was by Brittany Jones. Ooh, this is nice and crisp, like when you go to iron it. Look at that, it just wants to stay like that anyway. So easy. I feel like I might get into a pickle with all my seam finishings that I haven't thought of ahead about. But I'm ready for that challenge, you know? Oh, Oliso, is that what it is? Is that what it is, Megan? Yeah, there was a mini iron. Yeah, exactly. She had a regular and a mini. What's the lift for, you guys? She demonstrated it in the picture. Oh, that's awesome, Ray. Oh, God, don't you love it when you haven't seen something of yours and you're like, okay, I did it. So, okay, so when she was using a lift, she just demonstrated how it worked and she wasn't ironing. So is that a lift like, yeah. So the quilting, is it like you lift, it like lifts and presses for you? So you just, I don't get it, obviously. Sorry. I'm really intrigued by it. I asked her, so I'm sure she'll reply. But I don't know her, but hopefully she'll reply. But I'm trying to figure out. This is the back. This is going to go this way. Okay. It's like I'm not liking how that didn't line up right there. It's going to have binding there. Oh my God. Okay, I'm just going to stop fiddling with that. I don't even need to fiddle with it right now. All right, so let's put the yoke seam on. Oh, because you don't move the iron. It stays in the resting, you never pick up. Oh. So then, do you slide your piece under it? I'm very visual. You never pick it up. Yeah, because she just put her hand on it and went whoop, whoop. So you just pick up your iron and put it near your thing? I'll just go to the website and look at, I'm sure they have like a demo, you know? I'm silly to even like. Okay, so I'm going to sandwich my yoke. And I have a few things going on here because I have this pleat. That's cool. I love the fact that it's like a anti-injury feature. I'm all about those because I have so many hand issues. This is the front, this is the back. So how am I gonna do this? So this is going to be, the wrong side is gonna go to the lining like this. Where's my, all right, you guys, I pulled the cherry pie pin cushion pattern out. Like it's actually sitting right there behind me. One step closer. So how do you use that lift part, Megan? Megan Stein? Like, do you use that? Or do you use it for quilting? I think I'm gonna go with the inverted pleat, right? I mean the boxy pleat. Like this. Yes, like this. So when I designed having the pleat back here, I did this mainly because I need a little bit of extra fabric across my lower hip on the back. Okay, cool. Thanks, a quilter. I'll just look it up. You guys are, I'm sure, doing a great job of explaining it. I'm just, I'm very, very specific when I want to understand something. So I just want to know I'm understanding it the way it's intended. So I added that little pleat because I wanted to add a little bit of girth across my back butt area, right? So instead of just swinging out the hem, because I could have just done that, I could have just created a wedge there. That actually worked really well in a few things I've done lately. I thought this actually would be cute with having the pleat there, kind of like a shirt with the yoke, which is what I made. So that's why I did that. All right, and so now I'm on the right side. All right. Like this. Let's see if I have this all correct. I feel really out of it. I'm not trusting anything. I've been staying up a little late lately. What the heck's going on here? Here we go. And I'm distracted because of this trip. Easier to watch than explain. Good point. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. All right, I'm just putting some guide pins in here so I don't get turned around. I'm gonna go to sew. All right. The heck, here we go. Let me straighten this out. I'm trying to keep it all under the camera, but it's starting to look really confusing, I bet. So here we go. So this is the yoke seam that I'm doing right now. And I lined it below, so that's why I'm kind of sandwiching it. Like this. Okay, here's the middle. All right, so the idea is that once I do this, I'll have a nice line. This is not right. The yoke needs to be in the middle. What the heck, you guys? I knew that was wrong. I told you, I'm totally out of sorts. I'm really sorry. I have my days. I knew this was wrong when I was doing it, but I had to go through the whole thing to figure out why. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I know this is wrong, but you never know. That's why I did the whole like, okay, all right, this is okay. Wait, no, this is okay. I'm undoing you. You're not the yoke. This is the yoke. All right, you guys. I got this. I got this. This needs to be on the inside. All right, so I have my, oh my God. I have my, I keep unpinning the wrong thing. All right, you guys. I'm kind of tempted to try and download that Ash Jeans video one more time and just see if I get a little bit more. Hello, S Blouse, how's it going? Is your name Anna? Is that why you said that? All right. This needs to be right sides out. And of course, I want this right sides together to my yoke. And then this is the front, right? And that's the back. Okay. Okay, we got this. We got this. I have not confused myself at all. Ah. Oh, okay, Polly, no worries. Oh, you don't think you missed anything. I didn't even, just breathe, exactly. Just breathe. I'm not really flustered. I kind of knew, like, I was going to have kind of a rough stream for some reason. And I was like, yeah, it happens. Maybe not a rough stream, but I was feeling a little like, oh, why do I feel so confused today? All right, so this is the right side. So I want it to be like that, right? Like this to center. No, I don't want inverted. I want a box pleat. Yeah. Box pleat, box pleat. Pleats are tricksy. It's all gonna be clear in a second. It's all gonna come together. All right. I'm gonna straighten up my pleat. Like I didn't pin that very well. I just wanted to get it so that I was getting the correct direction, you know, of the pleat and the correct volume. And then I'm probably gonna sit there and fiddle with it when I go to sew it so that it's nice and straight. Yeah, right, Polly? I know. I could tell when I was trying to figure it out. I'm like, is it because I'm still got to pack? I'm actually not stressed about packing. I've kind of been like, I figured it all out already, you know? My husband's out of town. That's part of it too. So like, I feel like I have to be a little bit more like, okay, is everything happening around the house? You know, like I looked at the pool today and though there wasn't enough water in it, I was like, oh shoot, I'm on pool duty. I forgot that part. It's crazy. I went to a graduation meeting for my daughter. She's graduating high school this year. It is happening. All right, I'm just going to sew this one right now. I just don't feel like it's right. Why don't I feel like it's right? This is the yoke. That's the lining. It's all on the inside. I just want, when it's done, why does it still feel wrong? Maybe it's just feeling wrong and that's why I'm having trouble. I want the seam to be finished and I want it to be tucked into the lining. Yeah. You're not ready either, Megan? I think we're ready. Like she's kind of been like not the like school's just not her thing. Like, she's just kind of mentally past that, you know, and she has been for a really long time. It just doesn't suit her, and I can't even relate to that because I was such a overachiever in school. I mean, like, I wasn't like, you know, the valedictorian of my school, but at the same time, like, I did everything. I did everything on time. I got good grades. I didn't want to let anybody down, you know. And I feel like she sees through that in a way that I didn't see through. I was like, these are the things I have to do. You know what I mean? And she's like, why? She's like, this is not even, you know, like these people don't even know what's going on in the world. And I was like, yeah, that's true. All right. This happened. I'm really sorry I'm doubting myself, you guys. When I doubt myself, then it just all starts going that way. I'm going to look. Yeah. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. I know it's all possible. I designed it. Okay. You know what I love about lining is that even though maybe it feels a little fiddly and it does feel a little bit like, is this gonna gonna come together the way I'm hoping. It's like once you do it, you're like, oh, I just did like 4 steps in one. Oh, I'm sorry, Megan. That's a bummer. I'm estranged from my real father too. He's just kind of clueless. Okay, so here's my little pleat. So I kind of agree that putting in the box pleat with a lining isn't necessarily, it's not going to lay as flat in the back, because it would be really nice if the pleat and the lining and the outer fabric were kind of nested together when I made the pleat, right? But the thing is, I want my yoke seam to be clean finished and tucked into the bodice, lower bodice, rather than the pleat being nested. And the reason I want that is because it's sheer in the yoke and I don't want the seam to go up into the yoke. You know what I mean? All right. And this morning I was like a little bit early because Cricket wasn't there. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to work. And then I started thinking about the orange Danish rolls in the fridge, that like the little, like those really junky Pillsbury, you know, you pop the can orange Danish rolls. That's kind of like one of our little family things that we love, you know, occasionally. Yeah. So here, you guys want to see now? So let's see. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it, and I was like, dang it. All right, so now see, I have the sheer yoke. I have the bottom is lined like that. And you know, I'm gonna press it. So can you see that? Sheer yoke. It looks very wide. So sheer yoke and lined bottom. So let's iron that. Yeah, so I kind of got like really, I'm turning down my AC. I got really like focused on those, and like, because when you crave something, it's hard, you know, it's hard to let it go, right? Where's the salami? Yeah, so you can still see my seam down there. You know why? No, that would have shown anyway. Never mind. I just had a thought. I'm wrong though. I'm kind of just making the best with this fabric that I can, because I fell in love with it, but the sheer things kind of made me hesitate, because I don't want to have to wear something underneath it, because I feel like it's a little bit clingy, that it'll get hung up on whatever I wear underneath it, and then it'll creep and crawl, and that kind of stuff just kind of bugs me when I'm wearing clothes, you know. Yeah, so I got fixated on the orange Danish rolls, and then I was like, okay, I have to go to the store and get apples. I just needed apples. And so while I was there, I was like, well, maybe I'll find something similar to that. Now I want a treat. I didn't want to make all the orange Danish rolls for me, because a serving size is 1. And I would have eaten probably 3. So I was like, okay, let's just not make those. Right, Barbara? I know. Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. Like, I grew up, that was one of our little treats we would have occasionally. There's the cinnamon rolls and the orange Danish rolls. There's just something about those orange Danish rolls. I'm not a big orange fan, but, you know. All right, so here's my pleat. Not laying as flat as I would actually like it to. I'm kind of hoping that once I press the inside and the outside. See, so nesting the pleat would make it a little more flat. Plus, here's the other downside that I did not think of, is that the seam is pressed down, whereas in a pleat it should press up. So yeah, so that's a little something to think about. I think it's going to be fine, because it's kind of a floaty top, but still. something to know. Learn from me. All right, let's look at the inside. I don't think it's viscose. It's not very drapey. It's kind of boardy. So now see, the inside is clean finished. Wasn't it worth watching me struggle to see like I actually had a plan? And this isn't even the most ideal lining, but I felt like I would just go with the crisp thing, you know? I think that this pleat isn't sewn as straight as it could be either. See that? I'm just gonna kind of try and set it on the right path. But I can kind of see in there that it's not quite straight. So. Okay. Okay. Oh, you think grading those seams? That would be, I could, you know. Yeah, oh, you didn't get notified, Terry? I'm sorry. Terry, pretty sure on, thanks for subscribing. Welcome. I recognize your name. See, I wonder if a bunch of you got bounced from being subscribed. That's what happened to Veronica. Are you still subscribed, Terry? Because a couple people got bounced, I think. Terry, this week, I think Creative Bug, which is another online video place, is free. I know you just signed up for Blueprint, but you might check out Creative Bug and just see what while you can. Yeah, I'm thinking about top stitching it though, Ray. I can do whatever I want, right? But I don't think it's necessary. It's gonna stay down. It's gonna stay down, and I kind of want to keep the floatiness. Hi Mata, how's it going? All right, so we have our sleeves. Okay, so this is the other thing I'm thinking about is I think I can finish the hem through the side seam. See, like this? And now it might be tricky. I'm not guaranteed. Make the ceremony rules. What's that? Oh, make the ceremony, exactly. So I'm gonna try and turn this inside out. Like, wait, let's make sure we got it the way we want, right? So let's make sure. This is my idea. I kind of have to finish this hem with a seam because it's curved and kind of weird. No, not really. It's like, usually the hemming would be your last step, Mata, but because I'm lining this bodice, it's kind of just a part of the construction right now. So all I have left is, you guys, all I have left is putting the sleeves on, binding the neck and hemming it. That went really quick, right? So, yeah, maybe I should have struggled with the yoke seam a little bit longer. Maybe I should put my tag on the side seam, but I think it's gonna, I'm really sensitive on my rib cage there. It's really soft skin. All right, because you might see my tag through the fabric. I guess I have long hair. So, okay. Let me see if I can finish this hem this way. So the biggest thing when you're doing a hem, this is very common in jacket making. You leave the side seam open or the sleeve seam, and then you hem it. You hem your sleeves through your sleeve seam, each one, and then you hem your jacket that way. It's one way to do a fully tailored jacket with minimal hand sewing, because you don't even actually have to hand sew this shut. You can just edge stitch it shut like that, right? Okay, here's the rub. Keeping it all straight when you're inside out and in there is a little bit kind of overwhelming. So this, start with your head kind of on straight if you can, and mine's not very on straight today. So this is what I like to do is like, I haven't done this with this one, so I'm hoping it works, you know. I'm going to pick this, I'm going to reach in here, put this right sides together right now, like this. And just, you know, like pin it in a couple spots or clip it. You know, clipping it would probably, I think I have a clip over here. It's just in case your pin comes out, right? And so now when you pull it all the way through, because it is going to be a little bit of a, you know, awkward mess when you do it, you can keep it all straight, okay? So just start looking for just the hem. You may have to like sew part way, pick it up, and then keep sewing. That's okay. That's common. But you absolutely have to go through kind of the seam to be able to do it, right? So let's see, did I get it? Did I get it? It's just very confusing once you got this big old mess, right? So sometimes I don't even turn it all the way. I just start sewing so that I don't get too confused while I'm going. Here's my edge right here. Here, so here I am. That's so nice. Make a few more. Yeah, I want to get rid of this fuzzy, right? Like this is the time I want to start thinking about that, because otherwise it's going to be locked inside my lined garment and you're going to see it on the outside. So let's just stick a few more pins to kind of keep our head screwed on straight there. I try not to overthink this kind of thing, because you really can get lost when you're in the insides of the guts of a lined garment sometimes. So just try and keep it as logical to you as possible. Whatever it takes, draw on it, whatever you need, especially in jacket making. The sleeve cuffs are tricky but totally satisfying, because if you've cut everything really well and you've sewn things with the proper seam allowance and you were, you know, totally fine, when you line up your cut edges, you shouldn't have any torquing or any weirdness, and that's really especially important on like sleeves, because it's really easy to like twist your sleeve, you know. See, so I think like, where is it? Where are we here? We're getting there. I may have to like start and stop, you know, and then pick it back up. All right, so I'm just gonna start right here, and I'm gonna do the side seam first. The side seam looks hella messy. Look at that. Looks terrible right there. That's where my little uneven cut happened, you know? I'm gonna open up my seam allowance right here, line it all up. You know, pressing this open would have been kind of smart. I'm gonna start kind of below the slit. I'm not gonna start on the slit, because that for me just doesn't, that just makes it hard. So yeah, don't focus on it, and then your needle comes unthreaded. Exactly, Polly. I've certainly pulled my hair out before, you know, or wanted to. So, men's jeans, straight leg, like Levi's 511, 501. You know, you might try Thread Theory Designs. She doesn't make them like exactly like Levi's, but it's easy to see your way into figuring out what to alter to make it look like. So. Right, Barbara? Exactly. It's really, like, I've definitely done the cuff of a jacket when I was first learning how to do linings and things, where I did like I twisted it 1/2 rotation, and I was like, oh man, I had to like pull it all apart and do it, you know, again. Yeah, so you just got to do what makes sense to you. Don't think about this mess right here. Just remember, like, you went through the side seam, you did the work, you should be able to just pull it straight back through. I'm just doing a 1/4 inch seam. I have a pin on that side. I will have to clip that right there and do some ironing finesse, you know. I pinned on the wrong side of my sewing. That's so funny. Can I do the whole thing? I think I can. Right? I may have to do part way. I can't remember. I feel like you can do most of it and then you have to like stop, pick up, and then realign the rest, you know? My lining fabric is just a poplin I had left over from a spoonflower print. It's unprinted spoonflower poplin. Not an ideal. It's pretty crisp. It's like it's definitely a garment fabric, the poplin. People use it for quilting, but it's tightly woven. I really love the poplin that they have. They've had a few. I'm not sure which iteration this is. It could be the ultimate. Like when you're getting spoonflower fabric printed, this is the one. I like the way the ink looks on this cotton print. The Kona cotton's pretty good too. It's a little bit less vibrant, but the Kona cotton is obviously Kona cotton. It's really nice too. So, all right, how far can I get? This makes me a little panicky, you guys, just so you know. Like I wouldn't, you're not alone if that, looking at that makes you go, is that really gonna work? Let's see, where's my start? Here's my start right here. So let's just do a little bit and then we're gonna pull it through. We're gonna test it, okay? All right, so we didn't really plan on this, all right? So where's my hole? Where's my hole? This is my hole, right? Yikes. Okay, let's poke it back through the hole and then kind of try and let it fall where it needs to go. I still need to clip those sides, right? But yeah, we're getting it. So let's clip this, the sides right now. Right here. The side. Right here. I should have just clipped it right after I sewed it. Right, clip this. Right there. And clip the other one, keep track. Got to reach through all the way to the other side of the garment. Clip your other seam, because look at it, otherwise it just won't lay flat. So I feel like we all really liked the pattern drafting stream the other day, and I did too. I'll probably start doing more of those because it was just, it's really satisfying, and I want to get better at teaching people that. All right, so look, I only have this one little section left to do. So here we go. I'm reaching through my hole again, and I'm just gonna do this little section here, and that's it. I'm gonna pinch it right here, pull it through. I'm not going to turn it all the way. You cannot turn this all the way through and get it to lay flat. It's just not possible. You've already anchored it at the yoke seam, so that's going to prevent you from, you know, doing it because it has a side seam and an armhole. It's kind of like when you do sleeveless garments and you line it and you have to kind of do a little bit of sewing gymnastics to get it to all lay flat in there and figure out which seam goes where and how it all lines up. I want to make sure some of these threads don't get stuck in here though. Try and keep your curves nice and smooth. And so, I'm trying to decide if I want to clip. Yeah, quilter, right? I really like the idea of doing, making a custom block and grading it to a lot of sizes, selling that block, and then we all work on that block together, like changing it to what we want, fitting it how we want, stuff like that, you know? I love the idea of that. And so I want to work towards something like that. I'm trying to decide if I think I am going to clip these, because even though it doesn't need to spread out, I do want them to the tension to release right there as far as like when I go to iron it and lay it and make it lay smooth. So let's just get a few of our curves here. I'm gonna trim that a little bit because I don't want it to show on the outside. Let's get this curve clipped a little bit. If you were really intrepid, you could even understitch your lining here. I'm not feeling very intrepid. I also don't want to bind it up anymore because of the light nature of the outer fabric. All right. Okay, so which ones did we clip? Did we clip these? We didn't clip the ones closest to the pull through. All right, so we're about to like flip this whole thing to the right side and iron it and see how we did. Yay. So. It sounds like it's raining outside. It's so weird. And it's not. It's like beautiful and sunny. All right, does anyone know of any fabric stores in San Diego? By any chance? Are any of you Californians? It just dawned on me. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go to the fabric store. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna grab this by the armholes and give it a good shake. That did nothing. All right, so I'm gonna put my hand in here and just kind of push all this edge here, like this. Yeah, look at that. I don't like the threads showing. All right, so let's iron it, actually. Let's just iron it. I'm excited. Oh yeah, grading, we could totally do that. Oh, really, Anna? Yeah. Where'd you get your block from? Did you draft it yourself? It's pretty cool. Maybe I don't need to draft one for you guys. Okay. I'm feeling like I'm missing my regular ironing board today. One thing I want to make sure is that, you know, there's no like bubble in here and it's not going to torque weird, you know. I'm not really worried about torquing. I'm more worried that I get a nice flat look. I don't even mind if it does this. I would much rather it than do this, you know. I'm just kind of rubbing the edge like this and kind of getting it right on the edge best I can here. Like this, like this. As Instagram, you get a lot of shops probably. As Instagram? Wait. Oh, cool. Oh, cool. I don't know who made to sew. Is that another YouTuber? I'm gonna check her out. That's awesome. Really, I just want to make sure before I like go to the hem and just iron it that I'm not gonna have any like weird bubbles, you know? I knew it all lined up pretty good, so I wasn't too worried about it before I started sewing. Drafting is like creating the pattern. Grading is only sizing. Grading is the difference between sizes. It's the grade. So if you have a pattern that you drafted, you would then grade it to all the sizes you want it to be in. I'm kind of cautious to pull these threads because I don't want to like snag my fabric. See, this gets me a nice smooth hem. It's kind of smooth. Maybe more cuts like this when I notched my curve would get me a nice smooth curve as well. My tailoring techniques are not that great today, you guys. Told you. Oh, ask Instagram. Got it. I was like, ask what? Yeah, because drafting a block is pretty easy for me. Like, I'm not saying pretty easy for me to draft a block that fits you. I'm saying I can make a basic block and then grade it to a lot of sizes, and it'd be a really good starting point because it's only 3 pattern pieces. And then we can talk about all the adjustments that we would like to do to it to get it to fit you properly. And then we can do videos on how to alter it into the patterns that you want. All right, I'm really regretting not pressing my seams open. That was such an embarrassing like oversight on my part. Because doing it now is almost impossible. Let's see how I'm going to deal with that. I'm kind of curious. I get a little too excited. You know? I don't think I'm going to, Mata. I don't think it's going to need it. But I might because I don't want to have to do this when it's out of the laundry. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to like line it up and figure it out every time. I just want to like give it a quick press. See, it's got some nice drape. It's actually doing pretty good. What's this wrinkle down the middle of my blouse though, right here? It keeps bugging me. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right here. It's pre-washed fabric, so I know that it's not the fold of the fabric, plus the fold would go this way. Doesn't the print pop so nice on the white? All right, how am I going to do my side seams now? They're actually looking nice and flat, so maybe I'll just go with what they're doing naturally. Oh, I can go in through the armhole. I forgot. I can go in through the armhole. Let's see. What a noob I was. So I could have told you guys, you can do your hem through your armhole. The reason I didn't do that was I wasn't sure it would be big enough, and if you already attach your sleeve, you couldn't do that. So sometimes, oh look, I pushed, didn't I open that up? Wow, okay, so this one didn't get opened up, but this one did, okay. So let's do this side first and see, and then we'll fix the outer fabric here. Let's see how I did on this one. See, this feels, I mean, that's definitely a big enough opening. You could totally go through your armhole. All right, and this one is open down here. Yeah, you know, Megan, I was thinking that too. I could do, I would really like pants this color, this like rusty color, you know? So it seems like it's kind of defining and understanding which stuff comes. Yeah, true, Ray. Yeah. Yep, the armhole is still open. I could have done it through there. But that's okay. Like if you had like done your blouse in a different order where your armhole was already finished, this gives you an option. So I'm just going to top stitch this shut. We're not tailoring here. I do not feel the need to hand sew. You can hand sew it if you like. No one will ever see it. I'm not going to do it right now. Actually, what I was trying to do was press my seams open. That's what I'm trying to do. The reason I often don't press my seams open is because they don't stay like that in the laundry. So I feel like doing it from the get-go, yeah, it makes your garment look really nice when you're first finished. But unless somehow these seams get anchored in a way that will help keep them open and make it really easy to iron it after you finish sewing it, I don't see the point in it. Except that it makes your garment look really good right when you finish. And it is really satisfying. Like, it does make this seam nice and flat. It is definitely a nice touch, you know? But like I said, if it's not going to stay like that in the laundry, you got to figure out a way that is going to finish it so that you can iron it afterwards, you know? Hi, Deb. Hi, Malin. How's it going, you guys? How's it going? How's it going? I'm retroactively pressing my seams open like a noob. I'm not having a bad sewing day. It's going okay, but I am having my mind is a little frazzled today for some reason. I'm a little tired. I stayed up really late over the weekend, like past midnight every day, and then, let's see, Tuesday night, I went to bed really early. Oh wait, Monday night, I went to bed really early, and then last night, I accidentally stayed up really late. My friends keep me up at night sometimes. You know what I mean? Yeah, right, Ray? I know. I actually have a little mini iron, a craft iron that someone gave me. It came free for them with something. That thing is bloody hot. My problem with it, I have it right here. This little guy. I hardly ever use it. I've used it maybe twice. Here's the rub with this thing, and I learned the hard way. This screw, and I think probably all of this gets hot. And so one time we had this issue with one of our bags after it was done. Well, I don't remember what we had to do. Oh, I know what it was. The factory cut all of our stuff, and they cut some of it across the fold. Like usually I get all of my fabric on rolls, never bolts, but occasionally the fabric company's like, sorry, we don't have that on rolls and we're not going to roll it off for you. You're getting it on bolts. And I'm like, shoot. And so I'm either standing there ironing the fold of the bolts or I'm sending it as is. And if it's something that we're cutting, it's no big deal. But the factory one time got a set of bolts and I forgot the fold. And so we got all our notions cases back and they centered the inside of the notions case over the fold. So on the inside of a vinyl covered case, there was this fold in the fabric. I'm like, what the heck? So I tried to iron it and then this melted right through the vinyl. I was just like, you know, I was already really mad that they did that. I was like, you know, just tell me that the fabric needs to be dealt with. I'll deal with it. You know, like that's my thing. I'm not expecting you to deal with the fold. I'll deal with it. But can you just like help me out a little bit here, you know, and remind me like, yeah, what do you want us to do with this fold? Or cut around it. Like that's what we would have done. We would just cut around it because you can get pretty much a good yield no matter what. All right, you guys, how's this looking? It's kind of cute. See, there's the sheer top. We have the lower part. This is looking really good. It looks like it wants to stay that way. I have all these little cut threads though from the frayed edge. It's annoying. Gonna happen though. All right, we just have our sleeves and the neck. So. Right, Mata? I know. I'm not trying to be fast. I actually got a little bit confused myself. Is this the right side? This is the right side. This is the right side. Okay. This is the right side. I can tell by the little lines on the leaves. That's how I'm telling. All right, so let's do a French seam here. I may not hem my sleeve on camera because I feel like I'm going to want it shorter. I want to be able to try it on, you know? Oh yeah, Melinda, that'll relax you. Okay, I'm just kind of finger pressing this. It's such a short distance for my French seam here. This fabric finger press is really nice. Like I say, it's pretty crisp for being so lightweight. I feel like I bought this fabric to make a Cheyenne tunic. Yeah. Exactly. I'm keeping you guys up late. Oh my gosh. I could, Megan. That is so my way, right? Just stitch it down. Hi, Nancy. How's it going? We're kind of almost done. I just need to put the sleeves on and do the neckline binding. I honestly thought this would take 3 hours today. Prepared myself. I saw you got your giveaway. So I sent Nancy's giveaway, and I sent all the giveaways in a needle sharp box because I have them and they're really cool. And I knew when Nancy saw it, she'd probably be like, wait, why am I getting a needle sharp box? It's not that time of the month. Or she'd be like, oh no, I have to sew another one of these. And so I wrote on the outside, this is not a needle sharp box. Yeah, let's do a French seam for the sleeve. I think that would be a nice touch. It's completely, the box made me really happy. Good. I'm glad. So I actually think a nice finish for this sleeve would be binding or a really small rolled hem maybe. You know, something really, actually, I think a rolled hem would be a little more delicate. In fact, let's look at it on me. You know? Oh, I think this length would actually be okay. So let's hem it now while it's a little bit easier to handle. This is the front and this is the back. All right. So I'm going to hem this. I kind of like doing this sometimes when you know that your sleeve's going to be okay. Hemming it before you put it on makes it less to deal with. Hey Maribel, how's it going? Good to see you. Is that a pretty shawl as your profile? It's pretty cute. What's my profile pic? Is it just my logo? Do I have one? I don't even know. All right. I'm gonna do as narrow as possible. A lot of you have those rolled hem feet on your machine. I don't know how those work if you're doing something in a circle though. Do you, on a rolled hem foot on a sewing machine, do you have to start and stop on a cut flat edge, not in a circle like this? Or can you kind of tell it that you want to do this? These little vertical stripes kind of add some structure that you need to work with. Not in a good or bad way. It's just you can feel that the fabric wants to, like you can kind of move it around. That's not a good example, but see, look, did you see that? Like I kind of manipulated it to be a little flatter by just trying to get it to relax and line up. I feel like I started off kind of weird right here. You see that? Maybe, oh, maybe it's an optical illusion with that dark flower being there. I don't know, it looks really weird. Let me see. Oh, you take it off the foot. Oh, just my logo. Okay, great. You take it off the foot right before you finish. Yeah, yeah. Type something in the chat. Let's see. Hi, Diane. You're at work. We won't tell you. We won't tell. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it is my logo. Wait, do I right here? Oh, it's my face. Oh, it's my face on Twitch and my logo on YouTube. Love how consistent I am. Yeah, look at that. So this is hard to tell. I know that I had a right angle there. Because look at that. It's fine. See, look. Here we go. You see this underarm right here? Totally fine. Look at that. But look at here. When I did this, I kind of stretched it a little bit. And now it's not so lined up right there. I might be able to iron it back. All right, so let's see here. The back is this one right here, pressing the seam there. Maybe I'll start about right here, so I'm not starting on that side seam, which maybe stretched it out a little bit. You're going on a trip too, Maribel? Me too. I think like I'm gonna get rid of some of this bulk of this underarm. My little scissors have a catch in them right now, and I'm trying to ignore it because I don't want those scissors to have a catch in them. I want them to be perfect. And that's kind of annoying to me. All right, I'm gonna be a little more cognizant over going over the seam now to keep it nice and lined up. Sometimes those little areas, they can get stretched out because, you know, you put a seam right here, right? Going this way. That wasn't the case with that. That was something when I started and stopped, I didn't get that transition lined up very well. So let's see if I did a little better on this one. This is the kind of thing I like to sit there and analyze, but I won't get sidetracked today, promise. It's a little better. You know, Mata, I feel like when you have a hem that's curved, the smaller the hem, the better. Because less of it needs to be turned up. So the way I explain it is, say this is your hem right here, right? Say this is your hem. If you were to measure along this edge right here, the cut edge, and then measure where you want it to end up, like say it needs to go up here, right? Like this. If you were to measure where that little edge lands right here, that measurement along that parallel to this edge and this edge are different measurements. So it's good to think about where this edge is going to end up in relation to the hem, and think of it as in terms of a number. That way you're like, okay, like if I try and keep it as close to itself as possible, like where it's at, it's not going to have to stretch or come in as much as it would if it were way up here, right? So if you have a curved hem and it needs to be like go all the way up to here, you should use a facing or binding. But binding can get you into trouble as well in a different way. So that's the way I think of it. When I try and think of it that way, I'm like, oh, I'm asking a lot of this hem. Maybe I should help it along a little better. And that is why, like, doing this hem, I had to face it. I couldn't roll hem this because there was no right angle right here. You need a transition, but this is a point. A badly sewn point, I might add. Like, that's kind of unforgivable right there. So if this were a transition where it came like this across the hem and there was a 90-degree angle, you'd have more to work with. But those are really tricky rolled hems as well. So it's just, you got to pick your poison. So you basted your gingers today, Malin. When the front and back seams are already sewn, you get a hump and a dip when they meet. And at the crotch, that's okay. Pivot. Pivot. Don't cut it off. It works out. I get it too. Was something just crawling on me? Yeah. Yeah, and the reason it's twisting, Mata, is because when you're folding your hem like this, you're folding your hem, what happens is this edge is moving like this. It's pulling this way, right? So partly it's because we're like, oh, I can't get it in there. And so you keep trying to ease it in like this. You're trying to ease it in as you go, and you're getting this torque like that, right? So you need this to land vertical, like perpendicular to where it started. So that's why sometimes I will pin up, in a few places like, okay, this is non-negotiable. I absolutely need that to be there. And so here, I need this to be, right there. And so now from here to here, I have to make all of that work. Because if I get to this point, like say I started with this curve, right? There's no way I can get this to lay flat, right? So I start getting into trouble. And then when I get down to here, I have a little bit of extra fabric, right? I have extra fabric and I'm like, darn, what do I do? And so you either have to like, pleat it, which is acceptable as long as it's not going through to the edge of your hem. Just do little pleats so that it doesn't go to the edge of the hem, and then get back on track by the time you get to your like spot. So it bugs you, Malin? Well, try it and see what you think. Stay on the seam allowance. It won't be bad because remember it's a three-dimensional part right there, and your legs and all that. It all works. It is weird though, I agree. Okay. All right, so we're putting sleeves on, right? Okay. So we're going to do this wrong sides together first, because I'm going to do a French seam with my, oh wait, I'm going to do my basting stitch first, because I added sleeve across the cap. If you are cutting your if you cut your Scout as is, you don't have to do this part that I'm about to do. I know people don't like doing this part, but I love it. And I love demonstrating it because it's really, once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. So I'm going to run a line of stitches kind of between the notches, but I'm only going to draw it up at the high cap here. I just add this extra so that because if I did it just where I wanted it, it would fall, the stitches, the gathers would fall off of it. Could I add a lace trimmer on the bottom of the shirt to hide the uneven hem? My uneven hem? Yeah, right, Malin, I know. Glossed over. I thought my hem looked okay. I mean, you guys wanted it to be lower in the back. You guys told me to do that. Yeah, Mata, with knits you can ease. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, if you have a hem that's really hard, you could do a little bit of trim hanging out from under it. Just serge it. So if you don't mind a serged edge on a hem, you could just serge it once and then roll it one time and stitch it down. That is the easiest way to deal with these really tricky hems. But, you know, it's not the fanciest or nicest polished way to finish your hem. But if you have like a big circle skirt, you darn well bet you should do that. That'll be so much easier. No one's going to see it way down there anyway. Otherwise, you're going to have to bias face it. That's just kind of the only way to get away from that huge circle, that steep curve. Oh, just asking, yeah. That's what I kind of figured when I started thinking about it. Yeah, you could totally do lace. Remember that time on the, which was the most recent 100 acts of sewing I sewed? Was it dress number 1? Right? I added that pleated edge to the sleeve hem. You can totally do it yeah. What you could do is take your lace and put it right sides together, line it up, and then turn up the edge. Like say this is your lace, right? Say it's one layer, right? You sew it to this edge, right sides together, then turn it, and then you can just push this up and stitch it down, and your lace is hanging out, right? All right, so just depends on where it's at. All right, so I'm going to just pull this a little bit. It's going to be really easy because it's so lightweight. I like to pull from each side, but I honestly just got so much, I don't really need more. I just pull it so that it's tight. Look at all those ruffles I have in there, but look right on the seam line, there's no tucks. It's still smooth, and that's what I need. And I want it all along the top part. Because see, now look at my sleeve. It naturally is giving me more room in there. See, it curves. See that little curve? You can see that. That's what you're looking for with those. Like men's wear jackets, you'll see if you look close, they go like this, you know, right there at the sleeve cap. And that's partly because, yeah, they've pushed the seam allowances that way. They've added a shoulder pad, and then there's like the stiffener. But the thing is, it would be straight across without the little like hump of the cap if it didn't have ease across the cap. And you need that for the comfort of movement. All right, so I'm just pulling my thread here. Pull a little bit on the side. I'm telling myself out loud I'm pulling my threads from the right side of the sleeve so I remember later on. Sometimes if I'm sewing by myself and I want to remember something, I'm like quiet in my room doing whatever, and all of a sudden if someone were there, they'd hear me go right side. Because I feel like if I say it out loud and I hear it, I'll remember later. I'll be like, wait, what did it was? And I'll be like, oh yeah, I said the word right side outside. Yeah, right, Megan? Exactly. It would make a really cute baby doll top or dress. Yes, she has. Terry has been living the suit coat life, right? Okay, so this is the front of the sleeve right here. So this is the right sleeve and this is the left sleeve. Okay, this is wait, this one's the right one? Did I just set it down on top of it? Yeah, so let's see. It's my double notches. It's this one here, all right? So I'm gonna put it wrong sides together. I just thought maybe I had it flipped when I tried to figure that out. Wrong sides together on the inside there. I always sew on the side of the sleeve. It's just easier to manage it. I'm gonna line up my underarm like this. I'm gonna push my seam allowances to the back. And the reason I'm doing a French seam here is because it is a sheer fabric. It could show. You could serge it. It does all get pushed towards the sleeve though, so that's also why I kind of want to make this nice. You could also bind it. If I were doing a really fancy fabric, maybe I would do that. Where's my, there's my shoulder notch right there. So I know that that goes right here. Right? Wait a minute. That is not my shoulder notch. I was like, wait a minute. Shoulder notch is that right there. That looks more like the shoulder notch, yeah. Right there. Line up the shoulders. And so I barely use any pins when I do a set-in sleeve anymore, just because the gathers kind of help me. So this is my non-negotiable spot, right? So I'm just going to focus on this area here. So you can still see my sleeve has a lot of ease. I put a lot in it because I wanted to demonstrate that. So I'm just going to kind of get it kind of lining up like this. Now, when you're doing a French seam, when you're easing a sleeve cap, it is a little bit, it feels weird because you're not sewing on the seam line on the first pass. So you will get a few tucks on this part, but you won't on your final one. On your serger, you need to work it into the rolled hem. Yeah, well, the rolled hem foot on the serger is extremely different than the rolled hem foot on the regular sewing machine. In fact, the one on the serger is technically called a marrow edge, and it's M-E-R-R-O-W, and I had to learn the hard way that that's what people call it now. They call it a rolled hem foot, because I just did it actually on something. Oh, but I took it home. So the rolled hem foot on the serger, I didn't realize it actually is rolling a piece of fabric in there, but it's covering it in serging thread like this, and it gets tight. And so if you do it on the edge of knit going across on the cross grain, it'll ruffle it. You see that really commonly in kids' clothes. Can you steam it out? Can I steam what out? Are you talking about the tucks in my sleeve? There are not going to be any tucks when I'm done. You just have to deal with it because you're not on the seam allowance right now. But because that's my seam line right there, and I will be, and I won't have any tucks when I'm done. This is totally normal. But I mean, I didn't even have to adjust. I got the right number of gathers in there, so that's pretty nice. And I feel like it's almost easier to put in a sleeve with ease with French seams than not, because this first pass kind of sets you up to succeed later on. This is kind of annoying right here. Do you see this little bubble? All right, so now we have the front half. We already made our halfway point there. And remember, I want all of this, that's gonna be okay. I want all of this ease to be at that end, not down here. So like, look, it looks like I have extra. It'd be easy to think, oh, I have plenty of room here, but I don't really want it to go past this point. So, and I added a lot of extra to this sleeve. I still have a nice smooth line there. Oops, my fabric got folded there. All right, I have this weird little bubble happening here. I think it's just right there at the edge. Once I get it laying flat, I think it's going to behave. Oh, no. She didn't have a question, Terry. She was just singing your praises that you're dealing with lots of sleeve caps on your suits. Okay, so let's trim this to a nice, even, like I'm using 1/4 inch. Doing French seams with only a 1/2 inch seam allowance is not ideal. Like 5/8 is a little better. You can do it though. All right, so I got way off track right there. Wait, did I just cut off my, oh my God, I just cut off the seam. Oh my goodness. I did not get, now I've gotten off track. Look at that. Oh my goodness. What the heck was I just thinking? Okay. What the heck? Let me fix this here. I'm a little confused there. All right. Holy heck. Holy heck. I just butchered my sleeve. There we go. I got confused with my my gathering stitch right there just now while I was reading chat. Okay. All right, I need to rein it in here with the trimming. This, right now, is what I need to focus on. I keep looking at this. I'm looking at this. This is my first seam right here, the one closest to the edge. I'm only trimming this so that those little frayed edges hopefully don't poke out my finished seam. And I have a nice consistent seam allowance for the next step. That's all. Don't accidentally mistake one seam for the other and cut it off. All right, and then I try and leave this thread loose so that I can pull it out later. So now, there it is. I'll just do one whole sleeve all at once. So now I put my garment inside out. Sorry, sometimes I don't fully do it. It looks like a mess, doesn't it? And then I'm gonna put my sleeve into the garment still, like this, so they can still sew on the garment. Because I don't have a free arm, my garment all sits on top of the machine. This is just, I find this a lot easier to deal with. Same with sergers. You could press this, because of the curve, it's actually gonna lay pretty good. I'm not gonna have much trouble. All right, so then you wanna encase that seam, and I can really see it with the see-through fabric. This part should be a lot easier than you think because it's already pre-sewn for you. You sew on the sleeve side so you can tell if there's any tucks. You don't want any tucks, and you want it to fold right on the seam edge there. So pull it over, get it nice and lined up right on top of itself. And I'm always smoothing and making sure there's no tucks under there. I feel my seam, but that's okay. The yoke seam, that is. All right, and then we get here. Now we're getting close to all these gathering stitches, and we're just gonna go just to the left of my first pass of gathering stitches because we want them to be in the seam allowance, right? We don't want them to show on the outside. I wasn't that great with my seam allowance on this one though, so, you know, live and learn. Look at all those little gathers in there. That's great. It's not through the seam allowance, but it's gonna mean that I have nice ease along the cap of my sleeve. Now you're already over the hard part here. And my hands are really like smoothing out all this fabric right now. I like the like few inches that I'm about to sew to be as flat as possible. That's why I'm always adjusting and then smoothing it out again and try and come out. Look at how I first started here. You see that? I'm at an angle like this. See that? It would have been better if I started right here because you want a nice smooth line right here, not a point. When patterns are drafted that way, it drives me crazy because you're going to cut it off. Oh, the flat felled. Flat felled, you could totally do a flat felled. I think this way is pretty easy though. So then there's my sleeve. Oh my gosh, look at all my frayed edges. I was like, look at how nice. Oh, it doesn't look nice at all because you can see all of my frayed edges from my, so that's a bummer. I did not, remember I got a little scared. I got a little chicken when I was trimming that because I trimmed so badly. It'll probably be worth me taking that out. But look at that. See how I have a nice like cap to my sleeve like this? And then I have a nice French seam on the inside, except right here, I think between right here and right here, I could do a little better. I would, in a way, I could just sew a bigger seam allowance, but I'm not gonna do that. That's cheating. I don't mind cheating, honestly, but I don't want my shoulders to be different widths left to right, you know what I mean? So we'll just do this proper way since we're going so quickly anyway. I'm not trying to go quickly. This thing just sews up really quick. even with all my mods. So I think it was about right here, right? I'm taking it out on the garment side, not the sleeve side, because I don't want to mistakenly take out my gathering stitch quite yet. Okay, so now which is the loose one? Let's take that out. All right, let's look at it and just take out a little bit. Yeah, look at all those frayed edges right there. You can see where my seam line was right there. Seam allowance wasn't quite big enough for that, and I didn't really trim these. So let's get rid of that. Don't cut your blouse. That would be totally a thing I would do, you know? All right. Get rid of these threads here, and now we can fix it. There we go. That'll look a lot better. A lot of times I don't go back. I just kind of sew it a little bigger, you know, because it'll be fine. But in this case, I don't really want my seam allowance to get much bigger either, because it's going to show on the inside of the sleeve through the outside. Yeah, exactly, Terry. But you know, you're right in that like 5/8 inch seam allowance would be a little easier for a French seam, you know. And I'm using half right now. So let's look at our threads here and trim them now, because otherwise they're gonna stay in there. Here's my start stop right here. And then I put my thread on the binding side, the right side. Let's see if I can find it. I doubt it. I don't think it's sticking out here. Oh, look. What happened here? Did my threads... Oh, look at that. Did I not go far enough? What happened here? Oh, I didn't go far enough? Oh my gosh. Okay. What was that? Did I just not go far enough right there? Did it skip stitches? That was weird. All right, here we go. So when you push your seam allowance towards the sleeve cap, I don't have any tie. It might look like it, but once you iron this, I still have some threads poking out there. Sorry, guys. And that's a little bit of a concern right there. This fabric's a little fragile. Gotta be careful. Yeah, look at that. Even my shoulder's pulling out right now. Let's reinforce that. All right, let's do our other sleeve, since that was our trial sleeve. Like I call it trial. So yeah, once that it's ironed and washed, I mean, it's just like you have such nice, you know, movement in there. All right, that was the trial sleeve. Okay, so wrong sides together. We know this is this sleeve now. We don't have to worry about it. Seam allowance pressed to the back. Let's see. I always get it going, and then now I'm gonna line it all up. Look for my notch. Don't ever forget this shoulder notch. It's kind of your saving grace on a sleeve. It's nice having a halfway point, especially when you're easing something in. You know what I mean? God, I feel so hot today, but I think it's just because it's muggy here. It's starting to become fall, you guys. Have to admit, I'm pretty excited about that. I was really excited about summer, and now I'm really excited about fall. I kind of like all the seasons. Yeah, this one's gonna go fine. What side did I pull this one on the right side too? Yeah, so let's pull this one a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. Okay, wrong sides together. I'm doing French seams on my sleeve with an eased sleeve. All your edges line up. It's kind of what I did a little bit off on that first one. And now you're going to have some gathers that you might just have to sew down and pleat up. Because you're not on the seam line quite yet. This really is my shoulder, right? I feel like I'm hardly even working on this. Yeah, I don't think that's my shoulder. Where's my shoulder? Is that my shoulder? I don't think that's my shoulder. Is that just like a little piece that's notched in there? What the heck? Where's my shoulder? That's not it. I don't think that's it. What happened to my shoulder? Here's this one. Right. Did I just not get all layers when I notched that? It's annoying. It should be a lot harder to ease in. I'm looking at my front, lining up my front here. And I'm just going to make sure that my gathers are kind of evenly distributed. Because look at all that. We need to like back up a little bit right here and get more of the gathers. That's what's going on there. No problem. We can get our pattern out and then look for that shoulder notch. It's really helpful. You can kind of fake it, but what happens if you fake it, and like what if you put a little bit more gathers towards the front than the back? Bye, Diana. Nice to see you. It's still burning up in Georgia, yeah. The trees are starting to change color. Oh, they're not here, but they're starting to, the leaves are starting to fall a little bit. But that's only my, I have a camphor tree. I'm looking for my sleeve, just a second. I have a camphor tree, and camphor trees drop leaves twice. Nice, Megan. That's awesome. Yeah, sometimes those credits don't line up, right? They get a little extra. All right, this is my back, right? And this is my front knee. So let's line up our sleeve here. Find our shoulder notch best we can. There's a few gathers in there. Do we see it over here? Oh, but that's it right there. Or maybe it's this. Maybe that was it. No. I think that's it right there. Is that really it? Yeah. That looks okay, huh? Do I seem confident? It just feels like there's more gathers on the front. So the reason I was saying is it is funny that this shoulder notch is like a 1/2 inch forward. Bye, Rachel. The shoulder notch isn't a 1/4 inch from center, which is a little different. So, all right, let's just keep going. I'm going to trust that one. I'm going to trust it. We're so close to being done. I'm really taking my time. Trying to. Oh, it's already 1. I shouldn't be taking my time. I try not to stream past 1 too much. 2 hours is plenty. You guys don't want to sit there longer. Oh, this is the yeah, this goes this way. It goes like that. It's right there. Yeah. That makes more sense. Okay. All right. Here's my thread. Pull it, pull it. Oh my God, you guys. I'm having a day. I'm having a day. So I pulled on the front on one and I didn't on the back, I think, or on the front, unfortunately. Wrong, everything's wrong side. Ah, I know what's going on here. I know what's going on here. That was the sewing fairy. This isn't wrong sides together, you guys. Shame on you for not noticing. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. I have the sleeve wrong side to the right side of the garment. That's why the shoulder notch is off, because that is the shoulder notch. But the thing is, the shoulder notch is canted towards the front of the sleeve. And if I were to line it up, like flop the sleeve, like sew the front to the back, the 1/2 inch is an inch off then. The shoulder mark would be an inch off. Inch is a lot on the sleeve. If you do a 1/2 inch forward shoulder seam adjustment, I would, if you're not changing the overall circumference of your armhole, you're probably gonna have to move that notch. Right, Megan? I know. I'm almost done. Having a day. See, look, this is the right side. I forgot to turn it. Everybody new here's like, what is wrong with this lady? You guys don't hold me accountable often enough. Blaming it on you guys. All right, here you go. My poor armhole's getting so tired. So theirs is already forward, but the thing is you just moved yours. And if you just use the original notch, you might be easing too much sleeve on one side than the other. So I would either just move the notch the same amount, the same direction, or just try and put your sleeve on as symmetrically as possible, front to back, you know. Right, I know. I do brush past certain things, you know, and then I'm like, this feels like I shouldn't brush past it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it won't line up because you've moved the shoulder line. So you can just move it the exact same amount you moved the shoulder line and move it the same direction. It's going to feel weird because it's going to look in the wrong place. Yeah. As long as you didn't add to the overall circumference of the sleeve or the armhole or decrease it, you know. Okay. Wrong side, wrong side. Now my shoulder notch makes way more sense. See, I knew that was wrong. There we go. Okay. That's why you need your center notch. Don't just try and wing it. Okay, here we go. That's a good lesson in why you need your shoulder notch, because it is kind of key. It's like, I knew that was not right. Like all that gathers were going towards the front, not the back, you know? But then the sleeve notches, I was like, but that's not the front of the sleeve. But that is the front of the garment. Oh, okay. That's when you know something's wrong. Okay. So I just start sewing on the underarm part because I'm not doing any easing there, right? That's the part I don't need it anyway. And this way I can get kind of my sewing legs under me. And now I'm getting up to this easing area. So here's my shoulder right here. Look at how much nicer that is. It's like going right in now. Yeah, this makes more sense. Okay. My easing line there is a little too far away from this edge, you know? So it may end up on the right side of the garment. But yeah, this is where you're allowed to kind of stitch your gathers down. That's okay. They're not going to show in the finished seam. And I added a lot, remember? So about the notch change same amount from underarm seam from wedge. Yeah, they're probably not clear, but I learned this somewhere. Yeah. Mullen, right? Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, Barbara. What made you guys decide to do a forward shoulder adjustment? It might just be because, Barbara, they want the seam where they want it. So like a lot of companies, like this seam right, it's just shoulder seam is right on top of the shoulder. I like the shoulder seam a little bit forward. It doesn't change the fit very much, except for the fact that it helps seat the garment more to the front. So if you have problems with your garments doing this, you know, that is a problem. That's probably also because there's no armhole, not a defined armhole with a set-in sleeve, you know. We've talked a lot about that because I have issues with that. Like it's a pet peeve of mine. You know, not a pet peeve, I shouldn't say that. Sewing preference of mine is always to use a garment that has set-in sleeves or a distinct armhole rather than like kimono style or the dolmans and the bat wings and all those. I don't like those because they're just not very comfortable to me. They feel like it at first, but over the course of the day, they really bug me. See, so I am stitching down all these little tucks. I wish my gathering stitch was a little bit more accurate. Shame on me. Ooh, oh, my door just blew open and there's air blowing. It feels so good. All right, so let's be better about trimming this edge now, but not trim off my seam. Here we go. Just trimming off all these little fuzzies, otherwise they're gonna poke out of my seam on the right side. Trying to make a nice, consistent seam allowance. I'm doing a mediocre job. The fabric is getting very, a little bit tired right now. So this right here, I should probably correct that. You see that right there? All these edges are lined up, but this one isn't, and that's gonna be a problem. So let's just fix that. And that's just because that I lined it. It's better to know now than when you turn your garment to the right side and you're like, why is my seam showing? So I don't know what that is. Mad Mama's Farm. What the heck? Yeah, right, exactly. All right, so let's formal names of all adjustment exactly. Well, and you know, like I've told you guys, those don't all exist in the like regular production world. So I'm getting used to them too. You know? All right. So, Malin, do you feel like you would have liked to have known that earlier on? Or are you kind of glad that like the adjustments you keep learning for yourself, it's kind of in a way good because you got comfortable doing the adjustments you already have, and then you just keep adding things because you're refining and you're refining your fit? And so you're just like, all right, that's okay. I can add this to the list. I mean, yeah, it makes it longer, but at the same time, you're getting more and more comfortable, right? With doing all of your adjustments, you know? I had someone in the Twitch chat say something. That's why I said something about that a minute ago. All right, so let's turn the garment the other direction. So this shirt now is inside out, and then I'm going to sew on the sleeve side here. Right sides together. Yeah, totally a quilter. Totally. I totally agree with you. I mean, I think like when you're first learning to sew, getting a bunch of garments under your belt, whether they fit perfect or not, is a really good idea, because that way you have more experience sewing, right? Because you're learning so many things at once, right? You're learning how to operate a machine. how to fit something, and how to sew something together, right? So you're learning just so many skills at once. It's so crazy how we devalue the cost of making clothing. I mean, I don't like to get political, you guys, but that's something really passionate for me, is the fact that, you know, we don't know who makes a lot of our clothes, right? Someone most likely isn't even making it in our own country. So we're really removed from the process and knowing people who work in factories and sew for us and stuff like that. Just being around someone who works in a factory and sews, right, for a living. We don't even have that kind of interaction. And then on top of that, we don't want to pay much for clothes, you know? So it is, I've felt the same way. I'm like, oh, I could get this such a much better deal, you know? But then I'm like, well, wait a minute, you know? What's the cost of that? So it is really crazy how much we're doing. All right, so I'm just sewing right to the left, right to the left, just to the left of the basting, not the basting stitch, but the gathering stitch I put in. Also making sure I'm encasing that first seam. I feel like I just went over a seam that's probably going to show on the outside. Let's see. Let's see if I did better this time around. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, perfect, Terry. Yeah, so if you're going to do a French seam, your seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch. Your first pass is 1/4 inch. Your second pass is 3/8, so you have a little bit of a buffer to enclose the 1/4 inch in there. Let's see. Looks pretty good. I have a few threads poking out here. Oh, that one came out. You know, I honestly think my needle is too big for this fabric. I think my needle is too big. That's my bad. I tend to sew with too big of a needle because that's what I have here. All right, so let's pull out my basting stitch. I love doing that. It's so satisfying. I forgot to do it on the other side because I wanted to find it. All right, you guys. Let's see what I got here. Okay, so now we have our sheer sleeve, our sheer yoke, totally encased in a French seam. Beautiful, right? French seams are so great. And now we are going to do our neckline binding and we're done. Yeah, right, Malin? Yeah, right, Megan? Yeah, I know, Malin. Yeah, I know. We get so excited, right, about the sewing. Then we buy the nice fabric and then we make the thing and we're like, dang, you know, I look back on that and it's like, I really wish I had that fabric back because I could make a nicer garment than I made back then. But that's okay. It's still, I feel like it's a badge of honor, you know? Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to change my needle before I do this step. 14 is probably actually too big as well, but it's better than probably the 16 or the 18 I have in here from doing the Ash jeans. I should have changed my needle anyway, but I've been sewing up a storm with other things lately. And I just didn't even think about it. Okay. That was funny, you know, I was reading, I told you guys I have a gaming Twitter, like a Twitter, I have like my gaming accounts, you know, and I don't use my regular name and accounts for the gaming stuff. And I was looking at this tweet a bunch of people liked or whatever, and someone was like, you know, honestly, like, I don't know what I learned in high school that I'm using right now. Like, yeah, fine, I learned how to find the slope of a line and to see it, you know. Hi, Katie. How's it going? I can't wait to the catwalk. You know, I learned all these things. They're great, yeah, but the thing is I didn't learn how to do my taxes. or what was the other thing? Like really, really like, you know, good skills. And it's true. I just feel like we don't teach people the things they really, really need. Like, what if they plan on not going to college? What if they do go to college? You still need to do all those things, you know? Yeah, Megan. I'm a gamer. That's how I came to this. I was like, I love streams. I want to do this for sewing. Yeah, this blouse, I'm kind of having like, I'm a little tired. I will tell you, I've been up past midnight because I've been gaming a lot lately. A new game came out that I'm really into, and it's kind of a silly game, but I'm into it. Because anyway, I've been up late for that. But I actually haven't been up late doing it for very long. I just, I think I'm just like thinking about lots of things too. All right, so I'm piecing together my binding. I've told you this 1,000 times. I always line up when you're piecing your binding together, you take two that are the exact same angle. This is very clingy. So see how these two, the angles pointing both that way? That's gonna sew together in a straight line. So when you line it up right here along the cut edge, it's very clingy, sorry, it keeps grabbing things. Line it up along the cut edge, but you're going to line it up so that the seam line matches. I'm using a 1/4 inch seam, so a 1/4 inch in is where this little V juncture is right here, right? So this is a 1/4 inch, this juncture is a 1/4 inch from the edge, you know? So that will give you a nice continuous line of bias if you sew it pretty accurately. You see that? So now I like to trim these things. My back stitch is drawing up this edge because the fabric's so lightweight. I will admit I don't usually back stitch my binding, but oh, I did that. Wait, is this the right side and that's the wrong side? I just did this. I'm having trouble seeing my right and my wrong side on this fabric. That's the right side. That's the right side. So this one's wrong right here. Yeah, this one's wrong right here. What game is it? What games do you play? Yeah, right. They're teaching kids coding for games. That's awesome, but not every kid wants to be a coder. My kid doesn't, and not every kid's gonna get a job doing that, right? They'd have to go to college for that anyway. So why not give them the tools they need in life, you know? And when I'm watching gamers, I'm always shocked by how they don't know how to pronounce certain words, you know? So there is that, you know, like I'm like, oh man, they couldn't, like when I was watching ones the other day and they got the giggles because they couldn't say archipelago. They didn't know what it was. And that's where they had to go in the game. They had to go to an archipelago. And the guy was just like, got the giggles. He's like, dude, can you just tell me how to say that name? The other one's like, yeah. And then he's like, oh, I don't know either, you know? So I first started playing games, Megan, because there was a Harry Potter game that my friend wanted me to play. So that was my gateway. And so the game wasn't available when I told my husband, like, I want to get a PlayStation. I had to narrow it down. I had to ask everybody. And I want to start playing a game. And because I want to play this Harry Potter game. And it was Lego Dimensions. I didn't understand that Dimensions was this extra thing. Like, I kind of started off not knowing anything. I started off not knowing anything. So I was at Best Buy talking to everybody and talking to my brother-in-law and all this. And so I walked away and they didn't have the Lego Dimensions thing. So my husband was like, we're here to get you the game. You can't walk away with me having a game and you don't have one. So let's just find you a game. He's like, you loved the Plants vs. Zombies games, the mobile games, a lot. Like, you've played all those through all the way. Because I love phone games. I never thought I could be a gamer. I never thought that that's what I wanted to do. You know, like, just because I love phone games, you know. And I was like, okay, fine. So I bought a used copy of that. And I ended up just falling in love playing that game and meeting my friends and meeting people. And it's a really funny game. And so I played it. I got max rank in it, which was really hard for me because I suck. And then I finished it and whatever, and I went on to play other games. I've loved some other games too. But a third one just came out. So that was Garden Warfare 2 that I started playing on, and now Garden Warfare 3. It's not called that. It's called like Battle for Neighborville. Just came out. So that's what I've been playing. So all my friends have been getting back together. It's been really fun. That's enough about my gaming. But I'm a really, really, really big fan of The Last of Us, which is a single player game. That is a game. All right, so we're doing binding. Let's talk about this. I'm doing it just like this is how the garment is sewn in the instructions. It's a neck binding to the inside of the garment. So, yeah. Yeah, they have personal financial classes that teach them tax info, but it is so, it's so, not vague, abstract, you know? Oh, I know what the other thing was like. Why not talk to us about investing and things like that? How to get car insurance, how to get medical insurance. Like, walk them how to do that. I mean, we're supposed to teach them that as well as parents. I totally get it. I don't want schools to take over the role of being a parent at all. But at the same time, sometimes the information coming from us isn't well received, you know? You got 1 and 2? Do you really, Megan? Oh my God, yeah. So I didn't play 1 all the way through. I was really late to gaming. All right, so this fabric is very fragile, I want to say. Is this the right side? Not fragile, but it's delicate, and I don't want to pull on it too much. So usually when I give my binding tutorial, it's binding that goes on the edge, right? It's going to be seen on the outside and on the inside. Outside and on the inside. When it's sewn, right? So it's double fold. That's called double fold. So it goes like this, around, and then back, right? And it's clean finished on both sides. This one, you're just clean finishing it to the inside of the garment. So there's some pitfalls to this style of binding. Sometimes you'll get it so that the binding does this. It kind of doesn't, your neckline doesn't lay flat. In fact, I'm kind of worried about that's going to happen with mine because this fabric is a little finicky. And you got to be really careful. So when I'm doing the double fold style, I say to tug on the binding, tug on it. Because when you're doing double fold, the seam allowance doesn't get taken up. There's like no seam allowance on an edge that has double fold binding because the edge of the garment still stays right there, right? It doesn't get folded back on itself like it does with this. On this, you're sewing it to the edge and then turning the binding and the garment to the inside. And so you are making it a little smaller. That's okay. But then you have to top stitch this down. If you were to stretch this, you would have less binding to make the perimeter of where it's being stitched down. So you don't want to stretch your binding when you're doing this. If anything, I really should, maybe I should put a stay stitch in this neckline because look at how stretched out it's getting already. I'll kind of do that, I think. I'm just going to run a stitch. I'm going to try not to pull it as I go because look at I'm already having trouble with it right there. I'm just going to push the fabric towards it so that it kind of doesn't get stretched out. Yeah, this needs I should have put a stretch stitch in this right when I cut it. At least those vertical lines of weaving are probably going to help give it some structure. Your son rules the Xbox? Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I've played Fortnite a lot. I'm trash at that game too. And I just recently tried playing Minecraft. Okay, I had no idea what Minecraft was, but what a crazy game. What an incredible game. And I'm terrified in it. I'm totally terrified in that game. And this is coming from a person who's played The Last of Us 2 probably 12 times through and probably 6 of them on the hardest difficulty. And it's a scary game. Good story though. All right, so I just put a stay stitch edge around the edge of the neckline here because my fabric is definitely, it was starting to get a little relaxed and doing that splaying. I don't want my binding edge neckline to do that, you know. Usually I wind up my binding and set it on a thing over there, but it's not enough. All right, let's keep going here. I want to finish. Oh, I need my, no, I don't need to put the good night, Malin. I'm almost done. You won't miss anything. I can put my label on last. That'll be fine. So I'm trying to keep this as relaxed as possible as I'm doing it. I'm not pulling at all. Yeah, your shear might have more stability than this. Don't fret. You'll get through it. I can see my stay stitch edge in there. I'm trying to at least capture that so that I don't have to remove it. I'm doing a 1/4 inch seam, and I am using the binding width that came in the pattern, which I think is a 1 inch binding width. Typically I sew binding that's 1 3/8, so this is pretty narrow for me. But because it's going all to the inside of the garment, you don't need anything wider. Unless you want it to finish wider. But remember, the wider it is, the further away from the edge you're going to be top stitching that last edge down onto, and you're going to have some of that torquing, and oh, look at that. You guys, I cannot get my seam allowances correct on my binding here. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay. At least it's easy to fix. I like opening my seams out when it's this flat and fine, you know? Apex, oh God, Apex is so hard. My friend's really into it. He really wishes I would play, but I told him last night, I was like, I would play with you if I were any better, because he hates playing with random strangers. They're all hardcore stress games. Yeah, I know. I didn't know Minecraft was like that. Like, the only reason I tried it, because I was just like, this is a really popular game. Maybe I should just see what it's about. And no one really could explain it to me. And then I realized, like, it was so different. It's actually so amazing. And so clever how you have to combine elements in order to make things, you know? So you actually do learn a little bit. Maybe not learning I'll need, but, you know. All right, so look how ratty my edge looks. This is the piece I just re-sewed, so let's get rid of those. All right, so now I'm going to clip my neckline. Let's see, is this my seam right here? Yeah, good, so I can clip through that. Hopefully it'll lay a little flatter because I'm clipping it. I have mixed results with sewing this kind of binding, so. My machine got tired of waiting for me. So slam! Some of these parts of the neckline are a little flat. We don't really need the clipping, but I'm just gonna do it. Okay. My seam allowances. I'm gonna iron this. Yeah, Megan, I am that one of those people that people will get mad at. So Minecraft, let me see if I can describe Minecraft, because no one really explained it very well to me, Ray. I'm gonna iron this. I'll let this heat up while I talk about it a little bit. So in Minecraft, you spawn on the map with a pickaxe. No, nothing. You spawn on the map with a map, and that's it. The map is useless, pretty much, because you haven't walked anywhere. The map populates as you walk, so you really can't even reference it. And there are things in the game. There's critters, there's animals, there's villagers in villages, and you can, so in Minecraft, you have to be asleep in a bed at night to be safe from the creatures that come out, right? But in order to mine enough material to build yourself a house and a bed You can't, you could do that in a day's time if you knew what you were doing and you hit the ground running, you could do it, right? But yeah, it's a pixel game. Exactly. You build stuff and you kill things to get better stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of, that's a very simplified way to put it. But that's the gist of it. But it's very strategically subtle. And you do mine down deep to find things, but there's can be creatures down there. And the funny thing is I had no idea you needed to be like asleep in a bed at night. Like the game kind of maybe mentioned that to me in the tutorial, you know? So I would go to the villages and I would be like, I would just like steal one of their beds until I figured it out. But now I'm so scared to like travel very far, and there's like things you can do, like little missions, and there's lots of like things you have to find out and discover yourself, and people are always still discovering things they can do in there. And you craft things in there, craft things constantly by combining things, and you may not know how to do that until you were taught. You have to make a crafting table, you have to make a furnace, you have to smelt iron into ingots. I mean, all kinds of things. It looks like a really simple game by it being pixelated, like it looks like very unsophisticated, but it's super sophisticated. And when I watch people play it, I'm like, wow, I'm never gonna get to that level. I don't play it enough. But it's venturing out. I'm so scared because when you die in the game, you drop everything you're holding, including your map, and then you spawn in the last place you slept in a bed. So hopefully you know where you were in relation to that point, because you may not know you're about to die because something might pop up next to you and then just kill you. So yeah, and it's not like a violent game as far as the killing. It's just like you're just dead, you know. So yep, lava and diamonds and metal. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, yeah, it's fascinating. So anyway, let me switch to the iron. All right, let's press our neck, our ratty looking kind of neck there. Look how narrow that is. You can tell maybe I pulled a little there. That's probably why I got a little narrow. I'm just pressing the seam towards the binding. I like seeing it from this side actually. It's a little easier to see what's happening. That looks really narrow right there, by the way. It was a little bit tricky to maintain my width. Even in this ironing phase, you don't want to stretch out your neckline, so be careful. It's all, your neckline, so much of it is on the bias, it'd be really easy to stretch it out. All right. Oh yeah, that's true. I just mean it's not like, it's not the kind of violence like in some video games. I've seen so many people just like let their kids play as much Minecraft as possible, like parents I know and stuff. And so but I never asked one of them how you play it. Oh shoot, I didn't need to turn it that way first. I'm gonna edge stitch my binding now. Understitch it, sorry, I did not mean to say edge stitch. I am understitching my binding. This is kind of awkward because I just turned my garment the wrong way for this. Where's my shoulder seam? Isn't it right there? Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, I'm gonna start on the shoulder. I like starting on the shoulder seams for starts and stops, so they're kind of hidden there, you know? So I'm just edge stitch or understitching the binding, seam allowance towards the binding. So look, remember I pressed it towards the binding, and now I'm just gonna understitch it like this to kind of make it lay as flat as possible. And I'm gonna make sure I actually pressed it okay through here. Make sure there's no like pleated areas, you know? Oh really, Terry? Do you use a ironing board? This is my first time having a pressing ham. But I kind of felt like it was necessary once I got the wool felt ironing board, you know, because it was such a flat surface. I don't have the benefit. And I have used it quite a bit, but I never ever had used one, Terry. Don't feel cheap at all. I just don't like a lot of gadgets and gizmos around. I don't like keeping track of that stuff. Maybe if I was doing this for a living and wanted things to look a certain way for people, I would invest a little bit more, but it's for me. So I would absolutely try things out. You know, if someone was like, here, try this out, I want to get your opinion, I would try it out, but I'm not really looking for it. So let's just see how bad this is going to want to pull my neckline. So I'm just looking at it. So look, this is what I'm talking about. See how the binding doesn't want to naturally lay flat like that? Remember, that's because this edge right here is shorter than where it's going to down there, right? So keeping this narrow is going to be better for the binding to lay as flat as possible, okay? And I'm going to admit, like, I have hit and miss success with getting my neckline to lay as flat as possible, but this is what I've learned, is that keeping it as close to that edge as possible is good, like narrow. Wider and it gets flared. The awl is really handy in situations like this because you can kind of tuck things in there like this and then hold it down. You know? Oh, that's true. That would be a good birthday gift or Christmas gift. So this is on the inside of the garment. So you don't want your binding to push above the seam there. You want it to stay on the inside of the garment so it doesn't show on the outside. Okay, we're almost done. Oh, you guys, okay, there it is, my tag. Oh, thank you, Sophie. Sophie's been like lurking in Twitch chat, and then all of a sudden she comes in clutch with the "don't forget your label." That's awesome. Oh, it got a little narrow there. So let me tell you a little bit more about what my hands are doing. So I am trying to keep the garment relaxed and flat right here. I know this is kind of a mess, just don't think about that, okay? So when I turn it under here, this is my beginning spot right here, so where I folded it. I should have explained how I fold my binding when I did it, sorry. I have a lot of binding in videos though, and I have a specific one. I want this to be a little wider right there. I'm trying to keep it nice and flat and relax the garment right here while I turn under this edge. I mean, it looks pretty good right there, right? You can see a little bit of flare right there, kind of doing this. Do you see that? That's what we're trying to avoid as much as possible. All right, where is that? Here it is, right here. I'm looking for my neck notch so I get it centered. This label is pretty stout for this fabric. Okay. Just pay attention to what the fabric wants to do and try and allow it to do that while still getting your way. You're the boss. You know? I could add the label to the white fabric, but I already did that seam. I still need to do the side seam closure, right? I didn't want to put it on the side seam just because the label, that is, because of the tenderness of, you know, my rib cage there. So, all right, so here's our start and stop right here. I don't know why I didn't start where I put the binding, but it's okay. Like that. So your binding might be a little like wobbly, but if you keep your stitching straight, that's what's going to show on the outside. You know, that's kind of my little tip there. So that actually came out pretty good. But you see right there, look at that. So when I press that, it'll be better. If you end up using a contrast binding, make sure it's pre-washed. Okay. Yeah, that clapper sounds so interesting. I'm a little tight. That is so cool, Barbara. All right, so my last little thing here is to just sew my side seam shut right here. So just gonna pull it away from the outer. Get this little loop of thread here out of the way. And make sure that you're closing this at about the same seam allowance you sewed the other one with, right? You don't want it smaller or bigger. And let's make sure it's not caught in there. I'm gonna try and get this right on the edge. So yeah, I could hand sew this and make it almost invisible. And people would wonder when they dug this up 1,000 years from now how I did that. No, they wouldn't. They'd probably still be trying to figure out Fortuny pleating. Okay, so there's my side right there. Voila. Yeah, that looks pretty good, huh? I'm curious to see how it fits. Ooh, here's my thread. Yay! This is my last thing I was thinking about, was the gather thread on this one sleeve I didn't pull out yet. Ooh, I love pulling those out. Non-sewers just don't know, you guys. They don't know how good that feeling is. They don't know what they're missing out. It kind of gathered it up, but look at that. My sleeve is sticking up like that. Look at all that room for gush. It looks pretty good, you guys. I'm pleased. This fabric was a little bit finicky, so it's a little overexposed, huh? Right, Barbara? I know, right? Those 8-inch long labels are crazy. Well, that's it, you guys. We are done. You need to press that. You can see it wants to do this, right? Because remember, this edge and where I sewed it to now it wants to be the same length as that, right? Because the binding isn't longer on one edge, right? So it wants to do that. So you kind of need to iron it and tell it. I mean, one of the things maybe we could do is like put a stitch in there along the edge that kind of draws it in, you know, kind of like when we put on the sleeves. That would probably be a recipe for success for sure. So, well, that's it, you guys. We're done. Not bad. So we have our curved hem. It's fully lined. We have the vent in the back because I wanted a little extra back here. I'm not gonna lie, like when I look at my clothes now, I'm always like, that looks like it's gonna be too big because I've gotten bigger, you know? So, you love meeting here? I love meeting here too. Yeah, so anyway, I'll try this on and then hopefully I'll get this posted today before I leave tomorrow. And I'm gonna miss you guys this weekend, so I'm sorry I won't be here Thursday and Saturday, you know? I hate to admit it, Katie, but I like the ash a little bit better. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that pair. I love my ginger jeans. The ash is more contoured around the waist, and I have a lot of contour right there. The gingers, though, fit me really, really well. Bye, Terry. Thanks for coming. I will still sew both, Katie. But the ash has a curved waistband, and that does seem to benefit my body style right now. So I like that. The gingers is a straight waistband. And that's all I have right now is ash and gingers. Oh, and I have the Sew House 7 free range slacks, but those aren't jeans. And I have the Mountain View pull-ons. Those are jeans. Those are great, too. All right, well, I'm going to take off, you guys. I got to go pack. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're not really high rise. They're more of a mid rise. They go right above my belly button. Yeah. Yeah, you look for the high waist. Yeah, I totally recommend it. I would definitely do a muslin. Check it out. And if you're looking for the sewing, use my prototype video to sew them because I lost the other one. I thought I found it, but I lost it. Got corrupted on YouTube. Thank you. I'll try and take pictures of my outfits for you guys since I made a lot of them. A lot of what I'm wearing. It's funny. I think I'm wearing one thing that's not made by me on one of the days, and that's it. So it wasn't a requirement. It's just all I have now. I have mostly me-made stuff in my closet. So yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's great people watching. It's a small crowd too. So, and next week I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing the Kielo wrap dress by Named Clothing. A little overexposed there. Yeah. And that's sponsored by Hearts Fabric. And don't forget, if you guys order anything from Hearts Fabric, you have the 10% off, so 10. That will probably almost pay for your shipping. So it's pretty good. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you so much. This was the Scout Tee by Grainline Studio, heavily modified. But I totally recommend trying it out. So worked out pretty good. Looks nice and polished. So thanks, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you next Wednesday. We'll cut something out together and then sew it the rest of the week. So I will see you guys soon. Have a fantastic time. Sew something and tell me all about it when I get back, all right? And yeah, have a great weekend. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for subscribing. And if you want to support me, you can through Patreon. And I think through Streamlabs as well. So, all right, guys. See you later. Have a great weekend. Where's the little thingy so I can elegantly leave here? All right, here. I just can't see my... There we go. Okay. Bye, guys. See you later.